Well, actually, I don't know. I think you got a little bit on him. I think he's got a little length on him.
I keep my neat though.
Yeah.
He gives me shit all the time. We're brothers.
One day I'll get a real beard.
Yeah, that's bad though.
It's not great.
It's not bad though. I'm trying to make you feel better.
Brady, you good?
Yeah, you hopping in or what are you doing? Go ahead.
All right. So here we are, AireyBros Radio with Coach Schwab as our UNC match tonight. Coach Schwab, what are your thoughts on the match tonight?
I mean, I think our guys, for the most part, wrestle through periods well. You know, it's kind of something we've been talking about. Is you got to finish periods. You got to wrestle through every situation, and I think guys did a really good job of that. Rode really hard, and you know, understanding how much a second and third effort can add up. And when you continually do that, I mean, sometimes it doesn't show right away, but it shows as a match goes. And that's really what I've been hammering on our guys is, man, wins or losses, but there's a hustle and a fight. Like, that's checked off our box every time. Those things happen, our composure and hustle and fight and wrestling through the whole thing, that's got to be checked off. Now, we win or lose, I don't know, but that's something that's got to be a hallmark of UNI wrestling.
Now, when you are recruiting athletes, is that something you're looking for, or do you build that in them as they come to the program?
I mean, I think you certainly look for that, because that's something that we stand for. If we want to be, you know, we talk about being gritty, we talk about being coachable, and we talk about being selfless, you know, as that kind of the pillars of the program. Then yeah, I mean, that's a piece that you look for. And some guys you just see, I mean, they just, no matter what happens in a match, they just keep fighting. You know, even if they're getting beat, man, they keep working, or if they get knocked out of a tournament or get in the backside, how they fight back. I mean, those things are really important to me because, man, college wrestling is very tough. Division I wrestling is, I mean, it is a battle, grind, whatever, and you have to love that part of it. And if you don't, then as soon as you kind of put your head down, then it gets really, really hard. You know, and I know Troy's trying to work his team through those things, and you're a young team and still kind of building, but you can kind of see that happen a little bit in those situations, and that's just something as a program you continue to try to build, and you try to get each guy up and down. I mean, I tell you, last Friday night as a team, we probably didn't do that very well. You know, so, and then we came back on Sunday, we came back in on Friday, and so just being consistent in having that kind of effort. Like I said, man, I don't know if we're going to win or lose, but that effort and hustle and fight and kind of inspiring your teammates, that has to happen. So yeah, I mean, I absolutely look for it but sometimes it's hard to know, does the guy really have it? So you just try to watch him, you try to get around him, you try to get him in a training environment, you try to put a little bit of pressure on him and see how they respond to it. You try to see all those little pieces. And then, you know, you get a guy in a room, and then you just keep trying to bring him along, man, and keep caring about him, and then you see, you know, hopefully you see fight like that, because they're not thinking just about themselves.
So you said last Friday you guys had a rough go at it.
Oh yeah.
How do you come back from that? Especially you guys have such a tough schedule in the Big 12. How do you let go of that hard loss and refocus on a night like tonight and come back and have a big win?
I think great competitors, that's what you do. I mean, great competitors, sometimes you're going to get knocked down, you're going to get beat, you're maybe not going to have your best performance, or you're not going to feel good or whatever it is, but that other team doesn't care. So, you know, those are things that we got to be able to put aside and focus on, obviously, the things that are absolutely within our control. And I think we did a good job responding. You know, you challenge the team, and these guys have a lot of pride in the program. They want to elevate it and leave something, I guess, leave it better than they found it. And I just think that's what great competitors do, and they respond to a challenge, and they don't continue to go down that same path, man. And we challenged them hard, and they responded well. And like I said, they responded again well tonight. Now we got a duel on Sunday. We got to respond well again there, because you understand adversity, and that's really what makes you, right? I mean, these situations like that, to me, that reveals what you guys are really about. Like, if we just go and roll everyone up, I mean, that's great, but you know, in those moments, I think defining moments are like that, you know, and that's what I try to use as a team like this. To me, that's a defining moment of our team. How are we going to move forward from here? And that's kind of the starting point. And you don't forget it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's not like you forget that, because that's never, some of that fight and effort's never acceptable. But you got to have a short memory in some aspects, you know. If we don't learn lessons from it, then we're not doing a good job as a coaching staff. But you got to be able to turn the page, and the same thing with a win or a loss, like turn the page and get ready for the next thing.
One thing tonight, I was really impressed with your guys' short offense, your scramble ability, and top. Like, you guys were, no one was getting out on bottom, no one. Do you see that with most teams you guys wrestle? You guys get a lot of riding time, or was it tonight guys weren't peeling hands and stuff like that?
We've been doing a better job. It's been an emphasis. When I came in this fall, we talked about no easy escapes. We're not allowing anything easy. We're making the guy earn, because you see, like I said, sometimes a second or third effort, how that adds up later, or how all of a sudden you put a guy down one time and then you put him down a second time, and all of a sudden you kind of feel that body language, or the guy puts his head down. It's like, oh man, I kind of got this guy where I want him. But it takes that kind of effort, and it's just never going to be easy. I think it's something that we've worked on. We're doing a better job of it, but we have to be able to do it against the best guys too. We have to be able to have that kind of effort, because man, it's hard to keep a guy down. Sometimes it's easier. Well, I'm just going to kind of cut him here. I'll take a little breath. Same thing with front headlock. It's very easy to relax in there. And we've been talking about those, because you get in those positions almost every single match, and then being able to score points in those situations, or at least being able to make the guy work out of that situation. If you want to use 420 seconds, you have to do that. And we're trying to make sure that we're utilizing that whole match, because that's how we train. We train to do that. We don't train to wrestle half of the match. We train to wrestle the whole match, and that's probably what I was happy with tonight. Even our heavyweight. He wrestled through the whole. He wrestled through the whole period. He wrestled through the whole match, and even 97, man, he's still working to try to get out. So I was happy with that as a team.
Right on. So, University of Northern Iowa. Obviously, you got Iowa State and you got Iowa, right? How do you stick out with those two schools? And a lot of kids in Iowa want to go to those two schools. How do you get them to say, "Hey, come put on the purple singlet"?
Build a relationship with them. We are different. Our makeup's different. Our enrollment's about 11,000, and theirs are 30+ thousand. If they want fancy, shiny, all the bells and whistles, then they're not going to come to you and I. And we don't make any bones about that. Hey, we have all this stuff. But man, as far as the effort and energy that we'll put into our guys, the care that we'll have for them, it's better than anyone else in the country. And and sometimes guys get caught up into that situation, because they go to, you go to a place and you're like, oh my God, look at this facility. That's not going to get you to class. It's not going to get you to any hard times. It's not going to get you to any hard workouts. It's not going to. It's just hard getting 18, 17, 18-year-old to understand that. Sometimes it's hard to do, but I think the right kids, that's what they want. We don't need all this stuff, man. I want a coach that he's got my back. He cares about me. He cares about me as a person. He's going to help me build myself as a man. He's going to help me build myself as a wrestler. And I'm going to leave here 5 years later. If whatever I won or didn't win, I'm going to leave here better prepared for life. And that's what we'll give guys. And I know that without a doubt. I've been part of national championship teams. I've seen what we've put into guys, and I know what we're putting into guys is as good as anyone in the country.
What does Coach Schwab do when he's not Coach Schwab?
Be a dad.
Be a dad?
Be a dad. I got two boys that are 10 and 11. I got twin girls that are about 2.5. Just try to spend time with them, enjoy. But my wife is an incredible support system, and she's invested in the program as I am, and I think that's really hard. It's hard if you don't have that. I never had it, so I don't know anything different. But man, if you really want to truly, if you want to make it a family, then it has to be a family. That can't be separate. So my they're around all the time. They're in the gym. My guys, they've seen my boys grow up. My boys happen to be wrestling out in Tulsa, and these guys are all watching the matches and excited about it.
That's awesome.
That's how you truly make it a family. But man, I love wrestling. I love getting to coach these guys. I love the impact, hopefully, that I'm having on them. But hopefully, my wrestling isn't my only identity. Some people ask me, I want, man, how they feel when they leave, how I keep up with them and build a relationship with them, and how I have their back and believe in them 20, 30, 40 years from now. That to me, that's way more important. That's what I want. That's what I want to stand for. So ask those things. I'm a wrestling coach, but hopefully I'm much more than that.
And one thing we like to ask all our guests on AireyBros Radio is, do you have a daily ritual that you do?
There's, I would say, some time in the sauna is one of my biggest things. Some time.
With or without the medicine ball?
Yeah, some depends on. I'm telling you, almost every day I need to tax my body. It tax my body and mind. It's like it's cleansing in a way for me, to push myself, to push my mind and body, and kind of get back to kind of that bare bones a little bit of. I don't know. There's something inside that I want to make sure that I get out, and sometimes when you're on the road, then it's just, man, maybe thinking through things, but I really try to be I guess more a man of action, and this is how I go about things, and guys kind of see that and hopefully want to emulate that in the good ways. But I would say that's probably a big thing, man, just being able to tax my body. But if I have a sauna, man, that's a little bit of my refuge. And so I love that. And I would say that, yeah.
Cool. One quick one. What's Coach Schwab listening to right now?
As far as just
you got music podcasts.
I listen a little bit of everything. I'm probably more of a classic rock guy. I keep up kind of with these guys because they're always, because Shorm's a big rap guy, so I'm always asking what's something got a good beat, because it's got to have a good beat. Like I can nod my head a little bit. There's some podcasts I listen to. Really try to read a lot. I mean, that's and kind of diving in. There's so much. I've kind of been going back and trying to read books that I've read before. Actually, one of our donors just gave me a couple John Gordon books, and The Hard Hat. I just read that on the way, and it's a small book, but incredible story. And if you could have a teammate and you could draw up a teammate, like this guy George would have been the kind of teammate you want to draw up, and how he kind of inspired his team. I mean, that's kind of what I hope we have, some guys that they live that way. That's what we're trying to get our guys to do, to live in a way that, wins or loss in wrestling, those are going to come and go, right? I mean, and hopefully their whole identity is, and that's what we're trying to, and I kind of dive all over the place, right? I kind of go down this rabbit hole and that rabbit hole, but it's hard to find that balance, because we're asking them to put absolutely everything into it and not have their identity totally wrapped into it, or their self-worth. So as coaches, I've tried to do the same thing. I try not to ever emulate that. Like I said last Friday, we got our ass kicked. How am I going to act? If I'm acting a certain way, then my athletes are going to act that way too, and they should. And if I'm steady and, man, I believe we're going to stay the course and nothing changes, then I think that helps. So I don't know. I keep talking. I know it's getting long, but I appreciate
your time. I grew up watching you on Full Wrestling. Thank you.
Yeah. No, thanks, guys. Appreciate what you're doing. Yeah.
How close are you still to fight weight?
I thought they got me.